Hello, church family. Before I was a pastor, I wanted to be a politician. In fact, during my teenage years, I spent a lot of time listening to talk radio. I also participated in petition drives in my home state, and I even applied for some political internships. And when I got to community college, that interest continued for me. I spent a lot of time having discussions, or you might call them arguments, with my classmates at college. But it was probably about 2 years into my college experience that God really got a hold of my heart in a new way. And at that time, I became aware of two things. First, I became convicted that I was more willing to talk about my political positions than I was to share about my faith in Christ. That was an uncomfortable realization. And second, I became convinced that a lot of the changes that I was hoping to enact socially through public policy were things that would only change if Christ got a hold of someone's heart. So those were two realizations that caused me to step back and to reassess my relationship with politics. But when God called me to ministry, He did not take away my interest in politics. In fact, He allowed me to serve for 4 years in Washington, D.C., the heart of our nation's political life. And I really enjoyed my time working for a couple different churches near the District of Columbia. And I still am a pastor who cares about politics. You may have heard it said before that in polite company, we should not talk about religion or politics. Well, let me just tell you, I firmly disagree with that sentiment. In fact, I think we need to be talking more about politics in the church. And over the next couple minutes, I want to explain to you why. This fall at Community Fellowship, we are producing a series of videos about the church and politics. And I want to set up this series by addressing the fundamental question, why should we talk about politics in the church? You know, a good way for us to determine what our idols are is to ask, what are the things that we just can't talk about? You see, the things we can't talk about are probably also the things that have most power in our lives. And if we can't talk about politics, there's a good chance that it is actually an idol for us. You know, with all my heart, I believe that politics is a discipleship issue. As followers of Jesus, we must allow God's truth to inform our perspectives, and we must allow His truth to shape our hearts as well. You know, this past year at the Men's Advance, our theme was every square inch. And the idea behind that theme was that Jesus Christ has authority over every part of our lives. He has authority over our work lives, over our home lives, over our financial lives, over our families. And if we really believe that, we must also believe that Jesus Christ has authority over our political lives and our political thought processes and our political conversations that we have. You see, there's no shortage of political messages today. We can't avoid them even if we try, especially in the middle of an election season like we're in right now. You know, all of us are being formed, we're being influenced by these political messages that we are consuming. Our time on social media, our time reading articles, watching cable television, watching stuff on YouTube, hearing sound bites, seeing stuff on Instagram or other forms of social media. All of these things are shaping us politically. And I believe that many of us spend more time being influenced by these messages than we spend being discipled spiritually. And this is a deep concern for me. And I'm concerned that when this is true, when the political messages that we are consuming are greater than the spiritual messages that we are consuming, I'm concerned that instead of our faith informing our political perspective, what's happening instead is that our political perspectives are actually distorting our faith. You see, all of us are being formed politically, but most of that formation is happening outside of the church. And I believe that that's a problem. Well, I hope that you'll stay tuned with me over the next several weeks for our Church and Politics series. This will not be a series where we tell you who you should vote for. The focus will be on understanding our relationship with politics as Christians. We will talk about the place of truth in political discussions. We will be talking about what our emotions tell us about our relationship with politics. And most of all, I want us to think together about how our relationship with Jesus should shape our political engagement. Well, I'm really excited about this series, and I hope you will continue to join me as we have more conversations about what Christians should think and how they should act as it relates to politics. I look forward to seeing you more in the weeks ahead.